Like you have to know your significant other to prank like that. And if you know him, you probably shouldn't prank like that.
Yeah, I don't think you prank like that. I just think don't prank like that. Yeah, it's just a bad way to prank. All right. I think this is good. I'm excited about this. Let me see how we sound here. Let me check the sound. Let me hear you talk.
So this is how I'd prank you if I was in the bed.
If I came in to the room and those were the sex sounds you were making, I would be like, I would be a little embarrassed. Right?
Would you be like, she doesn't do that with me?
It's like, that's not her. I promise you that's not her. Also, get the fuck out of my house. Also, how could you do this? Also, how could you do it that way? What the hell? What the hell? That would be. I just don't think. I just think that's not a prank you do. You don't ever prank your significant other to make them think that you are cheating on them.
Yeah, no, I feel like it has long lasting because like now you've you put it in the mind and like made them believe it for a second, right?
Yeah.
So it's like worse than the dream. Like it's worse, like when you have a dream about it, you have like, okay, that was like I created that. Now it's like they did this to you and put it in your mind.
Yeah, because in that moment it actually was a reality.
Yeah.
He was being cheated on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no bueno.
Yeah, it was everybody in a weird spot. Like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Not a good prank.
It's not a good prank. It's not a good prank.
No.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a good pranker though, so I don't feel like I have grounds to be like, that's not a good prank. Because then you got to be like, okay, Sydney, then what's a good prank? I'm like,
You've never pulled a prank?
I've never been part of I've never pulled a prank that I was like, that's a good prank.
Yeah, yeah. I know we try to prank you sometimes with the kids, but it's usually like a bug.
Yeah.
Or like
pranks.
I don't know. Yeah.
Usually pranks. Not usually like that wasn't a prank. That was more convincing someone that they have one of the worst problems in humanity.
It was fucked your reality.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a prank. Yeah, so what's up?
Not much.
Yeah?
Just quarantine life.
Quarantine life?
Mm-hmm.
Taking it slow? What you doing?
Well, I did come with some information. I learned something this past days. Are you ready for it, or you just want to know what I'm up to? Like,
well, let's ease into it because I don't know what your information is going to be yet. So okay. I just want to ease into it. I did find it kind of interesting the other day when you were talking about how after the quarantine, we need to have a relaxed dress code for a while.
Oh yeah, because we've gotten by in life. Everybody's wearing sweatpants. Nobody's wearing business suits. Business is still getting done as much as people because people were talking about, oh well, look, workers need to take notice that as much production's getting done by people working at home, so they should let them work at home.
And you're like, you need to pay attention to how much production's getting done in our underwear.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm talking about.
Comfortable. We need to be comfortable. Let's stop playing this game where we all dress up around each other. Let's just wear our sweatpants out and be productive.
Yeah. Yeah. COVID clothes.
COVID clothes.
Got to get on your COVID clothes.
Yeah.
Stop acting all brand new. We know you ain't that person.
So but it'll be interesting once it gets warmer out if we're still quarantined because then you're going to pull out like your silk dress. Like what are you going to go out in,
That is interesting. Like what is the dress code going to be after
Moo-moos?
COVID?
Yeah.
Because, you're right. Like, our neighbor is out there in a bathrobe.
Yeah, and we don't care.
I've never even seen her in sweatpants.
That's true.
She's out there in a bathrobe running around. She looks insane. She's not, but that's where we are now.
That is where
that has to be the adjustment we have to make.
Yeah.
That's not insane anymore. Which is tough because that's how you knew to stay away from a person.
Like you said, you saw the lady the other day and she was either homeless and crazy or a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell.
Yeah. That bathrobe look is a weird look.
Yeah.
Because you almost want to be like, okay, lady in bathrobe, definitely not taking our kids there for Halloween.
But yeah, no, but she's great though. We will take our kids there.
Yeah, she is. Or lady in bathrobe. I wonder if I can get a free cat from her. Are any of your cats having kittens, by the way?
You know what the woman challenge is going to be once it gets warmer out is like, do you wear a bra or not wear a bra? Because I guarantee you 50% of women are not wearing bras right now. If you're in a sweatshirt.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to what I was saying for after the quarantine is that we're going to have very relaxed guidelines on catcalling and sexual harassment for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we just need a grace period. I'm not saying it needs to be the new normal, but we need a grace period.
Like we need to keep the 6 feet distance. Like you got to stay away. Like don't come up in each other's personal space.
What you know what? I think that would be the best way to have a grace period.
Yeah.
So, because I'm saying we need to have 2 weeks where we can just like catcall and sexually harass.
Oh, you want to go hard.
But I think that's a good idea. For the first 2 weeks, maintain the 6 foot social distancing. All catcalling and sexual harassment's on the table. No touching.
No touching. But we can say it all.
But say it all.
Look at it all. Oogle it all. Like
you might want to go refresh yourself on Pat O'Brien's voicemails real quick to find out how to talk to the ladies.
Oh yeah, that would be a good way to get back into
it.
Yeah. if you like this, don't turn around. If you like it.
If you want to come over here and get crazy with me, don't quit your job. Just look at me and don't quit. Come on.
He did have some good voicemails.
He did. Look at me and say, could you, that is, it's funny because those voicemails happened in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But he was definitely hit her with some swanky 1970s propositions, you know? Just if you're into this, just look at me and say yes. And also, he was leaving voicemails.
Yeah.
Think about the steps that it would take for her. Like, he had to know whether or not she checked her voicemail.
Yeah, it wasn't a text message.
No.
It was before that time.
Well, yeah, it was. It was just before text messaging was the way that we communicate with each other. It was back when people were like, text messaging? Ugh. Because you still had to hit
all the buttons.
A button 3 times to get to your letter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is, but that's a crazy thing for, because if, I just imagine, I wasn't there. I just imagine it was one of those things where he was across the room.
Yeah, watching her.
Picked up his phone, called her, left the voicemail while staring at her.
Yeah. To
make her see, hey, check your voicemail.
Yeah.
And then hung up the phone, waited 5 minutes, called her back, and left another voicemail.
Yeah.
While still, dude, you still see her. You know she didn't check the voicemail.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's
you adjusting there?
Yeah, a little COVID adjustment. There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
we can do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
It's quarantine. Adjust your balls. You can't talk about. You haven't seen anybody complaining about man spreading during the pandemic.
You haven't.
No, because we gotta spread. That's how we stop COVID.
You gotta air it out.
Yeah, you gotta
let it go out there in the universe.
Yeah, that's yeah. Oh, so I got some things I want to talk before we get into your learning.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So there was, although I do still wholeheartedly think that we should postpone sexual harassment for 2 weeks, or at least
you want to make sure everybody got that.
Yeah. Just charges, sexual harassment charges.
Okay.
Let's postpone all complaining about sexual harassment for 2 weeks. Give us 2 weeks to readjust back into society. Like, men just need time to readjust to a co-ed society.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a little time.
It's like we've all been away at summer camp, like single sex summer camp, and we're like getting back together now.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, whew.
So
like guys have been in the houses with their significant other this whole time. They haven't seen anybody else.
Nah. Which is kind of important, right? Because it's going to be tough. Like the first time a guy goes out into the world and re-hugs a woman from pre-COVID.
Do not bend your knees.
Yeah.
Straight legs.
Straight
all
legs.
All that fitness you've been
bend
doing.
At the waist.
Hinge.
You gotta
I need you to hinge.
All hinge tugs. All hinge tugs.
Yeah.
You better not give me a plank hug.
Because women are already talking about how they're going to like hug for a long, long time.
Yeah.
A long, long
Yeah,
time.
women are coming in with those concave hugs. They're going to come pelvis first.
Yeah.
They're going to. Because
Yeah.
women just don't care. Women have never stopped sexually harassing. They're always out there like copping a feel, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like hugging all inappropriately.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty wild.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Wild West of hugging for like 2 straight weeks.
It is. It's going to be weird the first couple days too, because you're going to be like, do I hug? Like, but you want to hug?
Yeah.
Like, so you're going to hug?
Yeah, it's going to be
There's
tough.
going to be some people though, I don't want to hug.
It
They'll
is
be like,
gonna-
I'm sorry, I'm not hugging you.
Yeah. We're not in this together. Not you and I.
I'm going to go over
It's
there
like,
and hug her.
Yeah, I'll be right back. He just lets us-
It'll be the neatest thing ever.
That's another thing. Politeness. What is politeness going to be like when we all come back?
Yeah.
Is it going to be, because politeness is a little bit of a prison,
Yeah.
and that's coming from somebody who's absolutely impolite. I am as
You see
impolite
it,
as they
though?
come, but to me it's a prison
Yeah.
because it allows the person that is not you to control you
Yeah.
based off of what is supposed to be polite in society.
Yeah.
So if I go into a situation, I'm pretty much going to be obligated to hug people.
Yeah.
But because of that obligation, it almost makes me want to thwart all hugs.
Just come with like your pelvis forward, like with your knees bent.
That's not going to stop people. People have been so unhugged through this pandemic
Yeah.
that they'll take any hug. Like that guy we just saw, that video of that guy walking down with his pants and underwear down at his knees, walking around with his dick out.
Yelling, fuck you.
Dude, people were doing everything they could not to jump out of their car and hug that man. They looked out and they're like, I don't think he's social distancing. And they start running over to him. Like, dude, slow down. You're gonna get in trouble. That's why they didn't hug him.
Yeah.
They weren't not hugging him because he was a crazy man with his dick out. They were like, there's too many people watching. I don't want to get in trouble. People are ratting on each other right now. I'm not wearing my mask.
What if you had a mask here and a mask down low? Followed all the rules.
Oh, that would be so sick. I would if I can manage to get a nut mask.
Yes.
I'm definitely doing it. That's hilarious. You couldn't even get mad at that.
No.
Like, 'cause you don't want my nuts out.
No,
Right?
no.
But like, you like as a human being cannot resist seeing your significant other in public in a nut mask.
Wait, is it just going to be your nuts? It's going to be
I'm
tucked
gonna
up
also
under?
wear a top mask.
Okay.
I'm gonna wear a nut mask and have my pants and underwears down to my knees,
Okay.
and then a top mask,
Yeah.
and just stay 6 feet away from everybody.
Well, it'll be covering your mustache, so it's acceptable.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not creepy at all.
I don't even know. I'm going to talk more about nut masks. Maybe I don't even know. I don't know. Why even switch topics? The universe has blessed us
Nut masks.
with nut masks.
I'm trying to think of where, like, the ear straps, like, where are you anchoring this nut mask? You know, like a tie in the back?
Yeah, you need strong cheeks
Yeah.
for a nut mask.
Yeah, you need a ledge.
Yeah. You would have to have you have to on my shoulders, like on the nuts, like a strap in the front, and they'd have to cross each other and they'd go around my shoulders. That's how you secure a nut mask.
That's fair. That's
Just
fair.
a dash of nut mask. Sounds like a recipe.
Yeah.
It's like a little dash of nut mask.
Not too much.
Yeah. I can't stop thinking about how Michael Bublé was getting, how they were just getting, I don't know, put on blast for him elbowing her.
Yeah, so that was a sign of, like, they need to get out of their relationship right away, right? Like,
Yeah.
too hard.
She needs to get out.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out. He just elbowed you while you were saying hola. What? Who does that?
Oh, no.
Who does that?
Obviously, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Imagine what he's doing when she comes home in the house. Hola!
Yeah. Imagine if she pulled that prank where she was pretending to cheat on Michael
Oh,
Bublé.
no good. No
Oh my
good.
God, he would have just been elbowing her. What are you? How could you do this to me? Yeah, that's it's just funny to think that that's his go-to for everything, dealing with it. Just start elbowing his wife.
dinner is subpar.
Yeah. Michael Elboblay. That's yeah, so that's just funny to me.
Yeah, it was a good time.
That's a funny thing to happen in the world.
Yeah.
Thank you, pandemic.
Nobody really got hurt.
Nobody got hurt.
It wasn't like an NFL player punching his wife in the elevator. It was just a little though.
That's also too. It's like, I guess that's kind of what you have to look at it as. When he elbowed his wife, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, that was he shouldn't have done that." And you've been like, "Dude, he's not an NFL player."
Yeah.
And then people would have been like, "Oh, true, true, very true."
He elbowed her with a dance move, elbow.
Yeah,
like it wasn't.
It was like they were doing a video.
Yeah.
There was clearly, I don't know how choreographed the video that they were doing was, but there was clearly something they wanted to do up front.
Yeah.
There was something that he had in mind.
Something he had in mind.
She jumped in with the olas.
Yeah. He didn't
way
like it.
too fast.
He didn't like it.
And it was like, yo, hey, not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. Not with the olas.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, and then he grabbed her, pulled her right back in. He elbowed her, pulled her back in. We ain't done.
Don't get salty.
You ain't done. Show me you learned your lesson. Yeah. That's ridiculous because it's if look at our relationship. You know, you take a snapshot of our relationship with any physical capacity, like they'd be like, Sydney, you got to get away from her. You got to get away from her. She is way too violent.
Just to be fair, I was watching another couple do jujitsu, and she like elbowed her husband in the face. Like she got a couple like accidentally, face shots in.
Okay.
It's
that's another thing we can talk about. Well, the other day when Ansley decided to come to jujitsu
class, we're not talking
drunk,
about. Stop it.
She tried pandemic Zoom jujitsu class.
Nobody.
I'm the only one that could be her partner. She decided to show up after her own personal happy hour. I didn't even know you were happy houring. Like, what the hell? Why did you even do that?
I was having some fun by myself.
Yeah, she was a little too much fun by herself.
Oh.
She was over there making nut masks. I don't know what she was doing over there. Yeah, it was like we were like doing these drills. So we're working together. We had our coach giving us lessons over Zoom, and we kind of have one of the more thorough at-home setups for doing jiu-jitsu. So we get used as examples a lot. So, because realizing, of course, our black belt instructor is going to be doing everything perfectly. Mm-hmm. So he uses us and troubleshoots us so everybody else watching can kind of see two retards doing it. It's like, what does it look like when retards do it? I mean, I see what happens when a black belt does it, but what about two retards? Two of them.
People need to know what happens when you have two retards and one's drunk.
Yeah. Contrary to popular belief, a drunk retard doesn't just suddenly become a genius. It's what we thought.
Yeah.
That's what America thought. But no, that's not what happens. I get why you would think that, but that's not what happens. And it was so, we're almost like teacher aides. In that moment.
Sydney, this was our little secret, and you
it's
let
not
it out.
Anymore,
Stop
not
it.
Anymore.
I can't believe you did this.
I'm
going to
trying
cinch your nutsack. I'm going to pull it so hard.
Not mask.
Not
you
mask.
just threatened violence. That was violence you just threatened. And but yeah, we're being examples through this. So this woman she's reached so in jiu-jitsu, you use grips a lot. And one of the grips that is a very strong grip to have is to grip somebody's collar right here of their gi. So you can see right here, gripping the collar. You see, go ahead, grip my collar. Go ahead, just grab the collar. Yeah, grab the collar. So every time she went to grab my collar, she punched me in the fucking face. And it wasn't even like we were wrestling. It was like, it literally, coach would be like, okay, Ansley, now grab his collar.
Just want to let you know. Let you know how lucky you are.
And then she elbowed me and she kneed me, just like turning her body. I finally had to be like, are you drunk? I didn't know what answer I was going to get, but it was like, why are you this retarded right now? But anyway, so yeah, that happened. A little drunk jitsu. Welcome to the Thunderdome. Yeah.
Quarantine life isn't easy, Sydney.
It is.
We're all struggling.
It is not. I got fucked up. Wow. So yeah, I mean that is interesting. What are people finding out during quarantine that they can and cannot do while drunk?
How many people you think are going to work Zoom meetings just a little bit drunk?
A little, probably more, whatever you're thinking, more than that.
More than that?
Yeah, more than that. But that is also another funny thing. I know we talk about it every time there's an opportunity where somebody is doing something like super tragic, but like my favorite thing to watch is somebody who's drunk try to act not drunk.
Yeah.
Those Zoom meetings must be hilarious.
Yeah.
Because everybody's probably drunk. Yeah. So we talked about Michael Bublé, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Did you notice that Dr. Phil was back in the zeitgeist all of a sudden?
No. What's he doing?
He was just consulting for Donald Trump. No big deal.
Are you serious?
No big deal. But Donald Trump, he needed to figure out how to get people back to work and have them mental health. Just had them with the proper mental health that they need.
So he went to Dr. Phil.
You got to go to Dr. Phil.
What?
Dr. Phil was
Are you
on,
serious?
Yeah, Dr. I mean, I don't know if he went to Dr. Phil. I just know Dr. Phil was on TV.
Yeah.
Haven't been gone to.
Yeah.
Like, being interviewed, and he's right.
He's got his finger on the pulse of America.
Dr. Phil.
He knows what sassy little white girls need.
He does. He doesn't want us out there doing that stinking thinking. Yeah, so Dr. Phil's out there. He's basically talking about mental health. He's basically so that's the big push right now. The conservatives are really big on saying that they want everybody back to work. And the liberals are like, we have to be safe, that you can't don't do this, don't rush us back to work. So that's in a nutshell, right? In a nut mask. That's basically what the two sides are right now.
Yeah.
So you got to guilt people into accepting your side in politics. Oh, sorry about that. Like, there's no logic in politics where you can be like, well, this is the best thing for us. And then somebody weighs that option. I weighed what you said was the best thing for us. I disagree on some of the things. Here are other things that I have as an option that would be better than that, right?
Yeah.
That's never how it happens.
No.
It's always so right now it's all the blood is on Trump's hand for responding so late. So that's one guilt thing. And like, don't turn this into another tragedy, Trump, that you already did.
Right.
Let us stay inside. Let us
stay drunk with no pants on in our house. Not going out there yet.
Until I can prove that I can parent my kids drunk. So the conservative side, their guilt thing is, well, but what about the mental health of all of the people?
That's the conservatives are worried about the
because
mental health?
I mean, and they're not wrong.
Yeah.
Like people out of work this long is going to cause depression. Depression leads to drinking. Are you depressed, Ansley? Has this pandemic got you down? And then, I don't disagree with him.
Yeah.
But now people are shitting on him. It's just one of those things where Dr. Phil, I don't know necessarily what his academic background is, but he was at least as a living doing consultations for people.
Yeah.
We saw it on his show. I mean, he's being a psychologist, right? He's not giving people medicine. He's just being a psychologist, giving people the things and his show is highly rated. Like, people love his show.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden that he's speaking about getting us back to work in a healthy way, and not only that, but he's speaking for the conservative party. Now it's like, Dr. Phil. Like, what does Dr. Phil know? Like, that's what people were saying.
Trump's he's brought in a number.
Did you get ready for jiu-jitsu before doing this, Ansley?
What is the right word?
Leaned.
He's leaned.
Leaning.
He's leaned on a number of like TV celebrities to help out with these
He has
issues.
And every single time he does, they're like, "Oh my God, you got Dr. Phil helping you," or "Oh my God, you got the My Pillow guy helping you." I need to be cautious of how high def these cameras are because that was a lot of spit. That was a lot of spit. So just know that I did that. Just know that I know I did that. Also, subscribe, rate, review, do all that stuff.
Now it's time.
COVID, subscribe. Yeah, but I think people are so angry at Trump, they're just jumping to insult these people before even realizing why they're even there.
Right.
So that was the thing with the My Pillow guy. I don't even know his name. I know he invented the My Pillow. The pillow that I have upstairs in our bed.
Yes.
That's my pillow. That's one of it. And you always used to try to steal that pillow until you got your shitty pillow.
I like my pillow.
Yeah, I hate your pillow. It's not my pillow.
No.
But anyway, they got him, and they're acting like, oh, now Trump's got the My Pillow guy. Like, that guy has sold over 41 million pillows.
Yes.
Over 41 million pillows.
But has he sold a nut mask? I think he could. He might be the person to do it,
He
right?
might be. Because that's the reason why Trump had him on at that press conference. Because the My Pillow guy was converting his My Pillow factory into a nut mask making company.
Face mask.
Whatever. But that's the thing. You know, if you look at that situation, so all these, of course, this is the way it's happening in my cartoon mind, because you have all these companies that are restructuring their corporations to be able to help with different things for the pandemic, like Ford or whatever American motor company is making ventilators.
Yeah.
You know, so they'll probably won't work.
Yeah.
It's not
the best model. You got to kind of kick it a little bit.
Yeah. We should have those Japanese ventilators. No big deal. They're not making German.
Yeah.
German.
Yeah.
German engineering.
Yeah.
That's what we need. But so we get those Chryslers, get those Chrysler ventilators out there. Yeah. And because in my mind, everything that gets made by a company is made in the style of that company.
Yeah.
So I want My Pillow's face masks.
You think they're extra soft, very breathable,
breathable,
stay cool,
filtering the best.
Yes.
You know? And
good material.
The best material, space age.
Yeah.
New, patent pending. Like all that shit. I want that. That's what I want on my nuts.
Dr. Phil, before he was Dr. Phil, I think he worked in the court system, and he was, a professional,
court mandated reporter or something.
Or I thought he was an expert in his, an expert if you need to evaluate the mental health of somebody that's being in the court case. He would.
Yeah. He definitely was that too. But I guess I'm thinking court man. Yeah, this is where my head is. He always brags about being a court mandated reporter because it's like he'll bring people on his show who are doing some like on the edge type shit, and theoretically it's kind of shitty if he just sends those people to prison because they're doing stuff that is illegal.
Yeah.
So what he'll do is he'll go, well, are you going to go to this rehab facility that I'm offering you and your family right now? Because you can leave this studio right now and go straight to, what is the rehab they use in Arizona?
The ranch. The horse ranch.
Whatever nice rehab that they send celebrities to as well. He's like, you can do that right now. No strings attached. All you got to do is say yes.
Just don't say no.
Yeah. If you want to go to this rehab and get wild, just say yes. Just look at me and say yes. He does it through voicemail. That's the weird part. Why does Dr. Phil do all of his therapy through voicemail? It's kind of odd. It's weird. But so they'll sit there and they'll mull it over, and they'll be like, oh man, do I want to do that? Like, I do want to get clean, but do I want to change my lifestyle right now?
Yeah, because they're not allowed to go home. Yeah,
they can't go straight there. They have to go straight to the rehab.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, well, I think I could probably do it on my own. And then Dr. Phil will be like, well, I think I should also let you know that I'm a mandated court reporter. And some of this stuff that you've done, I can't not report to the police. It's like, dude, you said no strings attached.
Yeah, there's
like,
a lot of strings.
What the fuck, Dr. Phil?
Like, yeah.
Damn it, Dr. Phil. Got me again. Yeah. So, but yeah, Dr. Phil's out there making the world a better place. making the world a better place. So, yeah. Anything else you got? Oh, wait, we got your learning thing. All right, we're almost there. Let me see where we're at right now. Okay, we're good. We're moving along. Ansley is excited. You're excited to teach. Man, I'm glad you got off the hooch. Got your life together. Now you want to start giving back. I love it. I love it. So, I don't know. Let me see if there's anything we can talk about before that. We can talk about when Tiger King had that other episode. And they were going to give that new episode on top of the old the regular season. And then I'm like, oh, that's pretty exciting. And then it's like, it's hosted by Joel McHale. And it's like, oh.
You didn't enjoy that.
No,
Who would you want to host it?
Well, but that's the thing. Well, even before that, it's just wild because at one point I loved Joel McHale.
Yeah.
Like when he was doing Talk Soup and a little bit of stand up and he was like cool.
Yeah.
And then he started wearing leather jackets and taking his shirt off. And it's just like, oh, dude, you suck now. You fucking suck now, dude.
He got weird Hollywood facial hair. Like I don't even know what he has going on.
When Community started taking off.
Yeah.
And he went Hollywood hard.
Yeah.
He went Hollywood too hard.
He did.
Yeah, I don't like him anymore.
No.
Yeah. I mean, he's still funny to me, but it's also funny to me that I'm like, fuck you, dude. But yeah, I don't know who I'd want to host it.
I don't know. I'd want somebody that was kind of down in the trenches with them that like wouldn't be like talking to them from above. Like, Joel McHale thinks he's better than them all, right?
Yeah.
Because he's Hollywood. Like I want somebody who's like their level, but not like trying to be funny their level. Like just, you know what I mean?
You mean Dr. Phil?
Yeah.
You want Dr. Phil on the case, don't you?
That would have been more interesting, right?
It would have been, because he would have been able to ask questions to get a little deeper.
Yeah.
You know?
Because we're not just laughing at these people, right? Like we became part of their life.
Yeah, I mean, we need more layers to judge them.
Yes.
And Dr. Phil can give us those layers.
Exactly.
He can give us some diagnoses and like what he seemed like he was. And like, yeah, that's what he was. He was one of those.
Yeah. Tell us what he did to his brain with all those drugs and that's why he's making these choices that he's making.
Well, drugs just make stinking thinking. It makes your brain stinking thinking. Yeah, there was Trump's video. His propaganda video that he played during his press conference, which was hilarious. It looked like he made it in iMovie at home on an old Mac.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. So what else before we get into Ansley's? All right, it's time to learn.
It's time to learn?
Yeah, let's go.
I want to make sure I say this correctly.
Okay.
I want to teach you about Elagabalus. Do you know about Elagabalus?
It sounds like, I'm not being crass.
Yeah.
It sounds like the first woman to ever suck a dick.
You're not too far off.
No, you see?
In like a weird, you'll understand.
Elagabalus. All right. Who?
So it
is a woman, though.
No, it's
I just thought it was a Greek woman.
I don't know whether I should give it away and tell you right now, or if I should just get to it.
Okay, so let me answer the question. No, I do not know about Elagabalus. That's the answer, right?
Yeah. So I've been learning about women in history, and I'm at the point of Roman women. So it's during that time period. And
our research is crossing paths right now.
Yeah.
All right.
So Elagabalus
should have said crossing streams. No big deal.
Was a ruler of Rome, was at one point, and he came to power because his mother,
the first person to ever get his dick sucked.
No, because back then they were all
they were all sucking each other's
So this is something that I learned. So this is important. So in Rome at that time, men were allowed, men were allowed to have sex with women, men were allowed to have sex with animals, and men were allowed to have sex with other men as long as they were giving. They weren't allowed to be the receivers, or else that was looked down on, and you couldn't.
Well, that's gay.
Yeah.
If you let a man have sex with your butt, that's gay.
They agreed with you.
Yeah. If you have sex with a man's butt, you're straight. He's gay.
They totally agree with you.
It's like, I don't even normally like gay people. It's just weird. I don't even normally get along with gay people like this. This is so strange. All right. So
So that's like, and so, and
they-
you weren't allowed to do it too much. It was like,
Yeah, and they were. There was also a lot of back and forth with that as well, because there also was a time where it was just cool for a grown man to have like a little fuck boy,
yeah.
just to walk around, like keep in your pocket, pull him out, just fuck him real quick.
Just I imagine him like, you know, those things like, yeah, exactly.
Like you pull a cord and he inflates.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then there was a time when, and that was like, it was like if you didn't have one of those, it's like, dude, what are you doing? Get your life together. And then not too long after that, it was like the absolute wrong thing. It was illegal.
Yeah.
And it was punished very harshly. It was punished by death if you were fucking little boys.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was like, I guess it wasn't that bad. So they were like flip-flopping on that alone.
Yeah.
Sexuality was really weird.
Yeah.
In that time. Like it wasn't uncommon for women to just be walking around with their titties out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a society, though, where titties out wasn't jerk-off material. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It was like, oh, shit, look at him. You know, so, yeah. But all right, keep going.
So this was like, I think 215-ish.
Okay.
Since you seem to know a lot about this, I don't know if that places it
Yeah,
in
I'm
your
not. Come on, this
sexuality.
is bro history.
Okay.
We're not. But thank you for embarrassing me. Thank you.
So there was a power vacuum at this point. And no, like somebody died, and it was the end of like there were no sons to take over, right?
Yeah.
And so there was these.
Wait, just on that real quick, because you know we are back and forth. We're basically trying to figure out if the patriarchy is a real thing. Like that's kind of what the impetus that kind of started us off from this historical. Because you're reading about like the language, like you get the women in history book,
right.
then you got the language. How language. Once we started writing shit down, we were like, "Fuck women."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Then so then we're talking about how boys were way more important than girls, and like how you're talking about this power vacuum because there were no sons.
Yeah.
So they were talking about this one king, and he was described as a Spartan king that died childless, leaving just one daughter behind. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead.
So this ruler died, and he didn't have any kids, but his sister had kids.
Okay.
And she had been in Rome for a while with her daughter, and then when that ruler died, the new person trying to take over was like, dude, you got to get out of here. And so she went back to Syria, but he allowed her to take all her stuff with her, and she had a lot of wealth that she had accumulated, so she went back there, and they're living in Syria.
That must have felt weird.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because it's one of those things that is weird in current time, where when roommates split and then the roommate leaves with the TV.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you go back to the house and like, fuck, I forgot he had the TV.
Yeah.
Like, damn it.
Yeah.
You know, that must have been so, like, when she left and took all of her fuck slaves with her. And he went home and was, like, all right, I'm home. Oh, fuck. Damn it. They were her slaves. Fuck. But anyway, keep going.
So she takes her whole family back to Syria, which is where they're from. And, you know, they have like a little bit of a different culture there in Syria.
Oh, don't I
right?
know it.
Do you know all about that?
That's what Herodotus was telling us all about, because Syria is basically in Persia.
Yeah.
And remember when Herodotus was talking about the Egyptians?
Yeah.
He feels very similar about the Persians.
Yeah.
Dude, Herodotus, definitely the first racist. Definitely the
Put
first
it down
racist.
in history.
Yeah, the first historian, and again, the first historian, the first liar, the first racist.
It would be the first racist. It's like, I've got to write this shit down. These people need to know about these people over there. Like, they need to hate them. Like,
that is hilarious. The idea that the first racist just thought he was just so far ahead of everybody else. It's like, why does nobody else see this? All right, I gotta write this shit down. All right.
So like they were over there, and like so she took all her stuff back there, and like her family was really powerful over here in Syria because they had all their
Yeah.
stuff. And they were also like part of like the sun god, temple, and like priests. They were like, very religious over there.
Yeah.
So then the power vacuum goes, and she's like, oh, well, we were in Rome, and my daughter has an illegitimate child that is definitely from the king. So he's definitely the king. And
Of Syria?
No, of Rome. Yeah.
Of Rome.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So she's like, this is him.
She's just clout chasing. She's over in Syria trying to get a name for herself.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't think it'll get back to anybody.
He was like 14. She's like, this is him. And like they had a really strong army over there at the time, and she had all the money.
The strong army was in
Syria.
In Syria.
Yeah, and so she had all the money. So whether like they liked her or she bribed him or whatever, they were like, oh yeah, we'll back this. Like, let's go along with this. And so there was a big battle, and they almost lost, but then the grandma got out of the car, or out of her carriage where she was watching. She was like, you got to go win this battle. And so they fought, and they won the battle. So now he's the emperor of Rome.
Because listen, I'll never lose a fight in front of my grandma. I've never lost a fight in front of my grandma ever.
So
why's your grandma at the fight? Like,
his grandma and his mom came.
His grandma showed up to the war.
Yeah.
Baby, are you having that war today? Is that war today?
Well, she sent
I don't
want
to miss it.
She sent him to the war. She was like, you got to go fight. He was like, I don't know how to fight. She's like, you got to go fight.
Well, that's another thing, too. So Syria, but not just Syria, but Persia, period, for the most part, just got butt-fucked by Greece and Rome militarily.
Yeah.
Almost every war.
Yeah.
They beat them in almost every war. So that's just another funny thing to me. And when Alexander the Great, he took a lot of territory from Persia.
Yeah.
And, he was a little caught up in Herodotus' racism. So one of the things that when Persians in their royal family, when they're discussing things, and like amongst, the royals and the military and stuff, they do it at a feast where everybody gets drunk.
Yeah.
And the reason why they do it that way is like laying on the pillows and shit.
Yeah.
Like all Persian, just as Persian as you can think of Persian royalty to be. Just having like sex slaves feeding them grapes, with a selfie stick, just like chopping. And then, or maybe they have their own selfie stick feeding themselves grapes. But the reason why they would be so drunk is because they believed that it was when you were drunk that you told the truth. So they needed everybody to be drunk to ensure that everybody would tell the truth. And then they would do all the talking.
Nobody remembers.
Yeah, go to sleep, wake up the next day, and then re-talk about it and see if everybody still felt the same way as they did the night before. No, I don't feel that. I don't think that way at all anymore. Can we just turn the lights off, please? Can somebody please just blow out the candle, please? Please just blow it out. I know, we'll just light it later. We'll light it later. I need to drink some more. Please, I'm thirsty. Wine, please. All right, go ahead. Keep going.
So now they're going on, they've won. So now they're going to Rome to take the throne. And they can't get there because it's right away because it's a long trip and it's winter. They've got to camp somewhere. And so grandma's pulling the strings on this. And she's like, look, he's going to be shocking to the Roman people because we're over here in our silks and those Romans are over there in their wool. And like he's gonna show up with like he's wearing his colorful silks and bangles and the Romans are gonna be like, what is this? Yeah. So she had a portrait made of him and sent it over there ahead of them and hung it in the Senate above where they like had to do offerings to something.
Yeah.
So every time they did offerings, they were actually like praying to him, like based off of how they were doing this. So like everybody got used to what he looked like. So when he gets there next year, and he's in his silk and that everybody's like, oh, okay, this is what we expected,
Yeah. People were, I think people were like, I didn't realize it was going to look this gay. Yeah, it's just weirder. It's like in person, it's like, it's not quite the same.
So like one of the first things he does in the Senate is he brings his mom and his grandma to the Senate and he gives them titles. They're like woman of the Senate or something. It's like these weird.
Like, you fucking mama's boy, you suck.
Because like those are like the only two women that were ever part of the Roman Senate.
Yeah.
Like because otherwise a woman wasn't even allowed in there.
No.
It was like
so another just to reinforce what they thought about women at that time.
Yeah.
So it was tough to have a daughter because in order to marry her off, you needed a large dowry to give to the person who was going to take her off your hands.
Yeah.
Right. But if you had a boy, the boy can help with the hard chores. Like boys are viable.
Yeah.
Right. So they had this saying in ancient Greece where it was if you have a boy, you raise him even if you're poor. And if you have a girl, you abandon her even if you're rich. They would send them off.
Yeah.
They would send them off to their own fucking island.
Yeah.
The island.
There was a lot of like sending people to islands back then.
Yeah, I don't know how
a lot of
many
women.
Well, the one island for sure that I know about was the island of Lesbos. I swear to God. I swear to God. That's where it all comes from.
Uh-huh.
Those were the first lesbians.
They were just hugging for a long, long time.
Yeah, and that's what it was. So you get sent to Lesbos, right?
Yeah.
And it sucked because you got basically excommunicated from your family.
Right.
You were banished to Lesbos.
Yeah.
So then all the women there would get all rugged because they were like, because they weren't like they had to fend for themselves. They hated. They had a lot of hate in their heart.
Yeah.
So like when women that have hate in their heart group together, they start to kind of butch out.
This is a fact?
Because if you don't,
can you prove me any other
like
examples in life?
Like softball teams. They have a lot those are just women with hate in their heart who want to do sports. They're just athletic, hateful women, you know?
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to like a lacrosse team, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, they just want to have fun, you know? Like, they're good time gals.
Yeah.
You know? And so, yeah, they would
Okay,
go
so
there.
you proved your point.
Yeah,
Okay.
they were just terrifying women over there in Lesbos. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Right, so.
So then, then they settled in, and then he started being himself. And like some of the things that he liked to do was that, so he had men that he'd call his husbands.
Wait. Are you about to tell me that this dude was so weird that he was freaking out a culture of humans that fucked little boys, banished women? Dude, it's like, how are they like, dude, you need to
just wait.
all right.
So one of the first, so he had a husband.
Like bestiality was okay.
Yeah,
you know?
he didn't offend anybody there.
Yeah.
So he had a husband, which was a little bit like, but like they would have been okay with it.
Yeah. It's like, you love him? You're not just dominating him?
Well, because he also let him do him too. Like, he went both ways.
Yeah, he was gay about it.
So, but then he also took a wife from, it was a temple of virgins. Where you weren't, they were virgins, and he took one of those ladies and made her his wife. Yeah. And like, so if they have sex, their punishment was supposed to be to bury them alive. And like, so people were very offended by this. Yeah. Like, you can't just take the virgin and make her your wife, know?
Yeah.
So, and then he had his weird, like, there was a black rock that was his sun god that he brought with him from Syria and told everybody they had to worship it. And like, people seemed he had like once a year.
He was a Mormon?
He was a sun god worshiper.
He was a Mormon. He came over with a magic rock that he got from the sun.
And a lot of wives and husbands.
Yeah, that's Mormon shit. He was a Persian Mormon.
He would like put it on a carriage, like only like at once a year when they celebrated this, he'd put it on a carriage, and it would be the only thing on the carriage, and it'd be all fancy around it, and he'd walk in the street behind it or like in front of it, like
wearing
I imagine him
mask.
dancing. Yeah.
He got him Bollywood dancing.
People seemed highly offended by this behavior, but people were okay with it because he gave away lots of food. He was also a party good time guy.
When you were talking about how he was like dressed all fancy and they weren't going to be able to take him, in my mind I was like, yeah, because he sounds like he came straight out of a Bollywood movie.
Yeah.
Into like a area where they only had like gritty documentaries. Yeah.
It was all like gray and brown and
and he was like, why
nudes. Jingling as he goes everywhere.
I don't even understand what the problem is.
and And then he started, like he had a room in the palace that was just for sex. It was like a sex room. And he would stand at the door of his sex room naked, like shaking himself at people. And like he was circumcised, which was unusual back then because he was part of like the priest. He came from the religion, whatever, over in Syria.
The Greeks liked that.
Yeah.
Because they thought that uncircumcised penises looked gay.
He was in Rome. I don't know how Romans felt about
that's
it.
fair. That's fair. I don't know.
It was just noted.
I should. Yeah.
Duly noted.
Because that might have. They loved circumcised dicks. There's a good, strong-looking dicks to them. That's why, like, all the phalluses, they're all circumcised.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Because that's a dick. That's a dick.
So he would shake his at people.
Yeah.
And
they put rings on it. Little bracelets on it.
And he would like so he would act like a prostitute and get people to come in. Like people would be playing their part. They'd come in and he'd make them pay him for it. And then he would hang out with the other prostitutes and be like, yo, I got paid more money than you for my prostitution. And so then did he do anything else? Oh, and he was also told any doctor that could give him a vagina, he would pay them like as much money in the world, but nobody could give him a vagina back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was ahead of his time.
He was so ahead of his time.
So ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Man, that's wild.
And then they just got sick of him one day. And they decided to make his cousin king. So this grandma that came with the mom, she also brought her other daughter who had kids.
Yeah.
And the grandma saw the writing on the wall and was like, okay, we're going to make this cousin king now because these people aren't getting down with this guy anymore. And so the mom and the king, Mr.
Yeah.
They got beheaded and dragged through the streets. Grandma stayed on with her other daughter and her other side of the family.
All right, so it was a feel-good story.
Yeah.
It was really more of a coming-of-age tale about a young man who came into his own. And it's like, why do you need a vagina when you have a perfectly good butt?
He wanted one.
Right. Man. All right. I think that's enough. We lost one of our cameras, it looks like.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we lost some viewers.
Yeah. I can see it in real time right now. It definitely lost some viewers on that last thing you said, Angie. I don't know what you were talking about there, but so yeah, we lost our front camera. But again, like, subscribe, review, watch us on YouTube. It should be pretty fun. This next one should be a pretty good time. I'm trying to get these shout outs real quick.
Okay.
It's because I don't want to forget Kevin McGran and Chris Bruno. Here, that's not it. All right. Here it is. Here's where I have the shout out. So sorry that took so long for me to get together.
Catch.
I also dropped it. It was like nice. Nobody ever says nice drop to the person. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, nice drop. Better catch that. I like that. I like how you did that. It's like, you're good. You're good. So shout out to Mike Butler, Mike Levy, Liz Bott, Doc. And again, Doc is an author out there writing books inspired by Two Jacks Bros. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, once that gets published, we'll shoot it out to all of you guys. And then Phil Clark, Kevin Stevens, Julian from Canada, Meg from Canada, and her husband, Julian. What's up? Shout out Meg, meg.says.so. That's her Instagram, meg.says.so. Hit her up. She'll teach you how to make masks. Also,
she taught my mom. My mom made one.
Yeah. How about that?
Thank you, Meg.
Yeah. Holla. Sell and Tell is her podcast. You can check her out. Also, Julian, his other job that he got right before all this shit started, laid him off. Then he got a new job working at the same company that his wife works at.
Oh, okay.
And the only employee he gets to see now is his wife.
Yeah.
So he's just at home sexually harassing all day. Like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's what he told me.
Is he wearing silk robes
and
bangles? Okay, Meg.
Meg, can you get my reports? So Kevin Lau, Mary Jo Butterly, Tim Butterly, shout out Dad Meat Podcast, Nicole, Raj, Janelle, Courtney, Coach Rick. Haven't heard from you, man. Hope you're doing well. Gonna reach out to you pretty soon, I guess. I don't know why I threw I guess on the end of that. It's just a weird thing you say when you're talking. Andrew Pace. Big shout out, Andrew Pace. What's up? Holding it down.
By the way, those ladies that you just named, all of them, I'm going to give them big hugs. Tight hugs when I see them.
Yeah, that's going to be awkward. Yeah, it's gonna be some awkward hugging.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Hancock, like a bunch of women that don't know how to make women friends, just all trying to
We're
hug
gonna
each other.
hug. We're all planning
Yeah,
on
that's
it.
gonna be hilarious. I can't wait. You gotta let me record that and put ragtime music. Kyle Hancock, Erica Daniels, Levi Mercer, Justin Masabi, Ezekiel Ellis. Apologize for that. Shout out to you and everything you're dealing with, my man. Logan, Ryan, Roger Downs, Joe, Rob, Joe Francis and his girlfriend's company, Saved by the Wreath. Get all of your wreath concerns taken care of. TJ James down under, holding us down. Down under. Nick Cupsey and his 2 books, Lost in the Mail and 5 People You Beat in Wawa. He's a published author. We just got sophisticated people listening to this podcast. No big deal. Don't know who remember this. Still, this old guy. Hope you're alive still in this COVID pandemic. And we don't do this very often. But shout out to our Melissa Circadian Clock. Our music in the beginning and the end of this podcast, they come from them. And she's just a busy lady. She's a real musician. You can check out her Tiny Desk concert on NPR with another famous violinist. And she's playing backup violin for her. I don't know how that works. But check that out. I don't think there's too many violinist Tiny Desk concerts. Right? So that's what you're listening to right now, actually. This song right now, this is from Circadian Clock. And so was the song in the beginning. Anything else you want to say, Ace?
No, that's it.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We love you so much. Keep doing it. Like, rate, review, share, and be safe during this pandemic.
Out. Yeah. She got you.